While racism will always exist in today's society, when a white man commits a heinous crime against a black man, do you consider it to be a regular crime or a hate crime? The media and the public's response to crimes between different races and genders usually reflect racism as the major motive. With myself being of mixed descent, my mom white and my dad black, I have always encountered statements regarding race-based behaviors and attitudes. Growing up in an interracial household, my parents have told me numerous stories of how race was a major issue for them growing up and trying to be together. By me being of mixed descent, this allows me to speak on the relevance race has played in my life and speak on how I have seen race affect others. Racism is a touchy subject in today's society. Many people would like to believe that it is non-existent, when in reality it plays a major role in everyone's perceptions of others. As stated in the Reader's Digest Great Encyclopedic Dictionary, racism is defined as a belief that people differ significantly and systematically, as in ability, intellect, etc., because of racial differences. Also, a belief in or advocacy of the superiority or inferiority of a particular group on the basis of supposed racial differences, racial prejudice. Stereotyping is defined as a conventional or hackneyed expression or mental image of a person possessing or believing to possess characteristics or qualities that typify a particular group. Racism can even exist among the same race, different races, different cultures, or different genders. Racism and stereotypes go hand in hand. What we perceive a person's behaviors and actions to be before the outcome of a situation can be considered racism. Saying a person will behave or act in a certain manner beforehand is considered stereotyping. In a polling debate on debate.org, 73% of people agree that racism will always be an issue in today's society, as opposed to 27% who say it will not. Debaters argue that we could overcome it if we all work together to let it die a natural death. But as long as we continue to focus on racism, it will always be an issue. Of the 27% who say no, the main reason for this is because the sun will collapse within itself in 2 million years, bringing extinction to human life. Therefore, they can say it won't be always, only 2 million years, because human life will end and racism along with it. This also helps the argument that all believe racism is still an issue, because common sense is that if there are no humans in 2 million years, there can be no racism. Although we all have positive outlooks on different races, cultures, and genders, we have negative thoughts also that are just not voiced. We are not born racist, but are victims of our environment and upbringing. If we are not taught, influenced, or exposed to racist comments, persons, and philosophy, by nature, we will not have racist thoughts. When you hear something, no matter if it is right or wrong, it's just like a seed being planted. Only if you further inquire or continue to hear more of the same nonsense will the seed grow. A lot of our older generation, who were brought up in the era of slavery and before desegregation of races and cultures, were heavily influenced and programmed with racist mentalities and tendencies. Not all accepted the ideology of their parents and grandparents, but many embraced it and passed it on to their kids and grandchildren. The media also plays a role in influencing our behaviors and attitudes towards different cultures, races, and genders. One prime example would be the Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman case. Some media influences viewers and listeners to believe that crimes are motivated by racial hate and cultural differences. This may be true to an extent, but the way the media portrays crimes further persuades viewers' conscience to believe racism was the motive. They also cite different similar situations from the past to persuade viewers and fuel the racism theory. For example, if two white people commit crimes against each other, or two blacks for that matter, then we as the public view the situation as they had a conflict of interest that escalated to a criminal extent. But if two different races commit crimes against each other than conflict of interest, the media portrays a racial discrepancy as the motivation for one's actions against the other. Then by adding stories like the Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case, the Rodney King beating, O.J. Simpson murdering his wife Nicole and friend Ron, and the MLK assassination, helped aid and stir the ideas of the public to believe racism was the major player in the actions and decisions of the participants of the crime. By relating similar stories to the present situation, they tip our persuasion scale in favor of racism as the reason. To summarize, racism will always be present in today's society. Parents and grandparents brought up in an era where racism thrived help influence the younger generation's thoughts on the subject. The media and the spin it puts on the stories they relate to their viewers and the public in general help stir racial controversy. But as long as we continue to focus and entertain racism, it will not die. Only through education and embracing racism can we fully eliminate it from our world. In conclusion, racism will always be present, but we as a society can educate ourselves and others to persuade our thoughts and actions against racism.